Hello and welcome to Sports Weekly. Every now and then you hear a story about how sport has changed someone's life for the better. Whether it's improving social cohesion, offering new hope and opportunities to people in need, or directing a youngster away from antisocial behaviour. And sports stars have the potential to impact everyone as well. Last week, I got exclusive access to meet two cricketing legends before their promotional tour of England with the charity Muslim Aid. Check it out. Hello, I've come to Muslim Aid UK's London office to meet two of cricketing's greatest iconic sporting heroes. They are the right-arm pace bowler Waqar Younis and the inevitable left-handed batsman Brian Lara.
Two legends, one from Pakistan and the other from West Indies, teamed up together with Muslim Aid to raise awareness for children in Pakistan.
It's typical English weather this time of the year. I'm looking forward to the next few nights and sharing the stage with Waqar and talking about things that happened in the past. I have a lot to talk about him and his bowling. Little to talk about his batting, but it's going to be awesome.
Obviously, England cricket tends to be at the moment pretty terrible playing on foreign pitches, foreign wickets. Do you think that what are your chances of England? What do you think England are going to be like this year, this summer, as we approach the cricketing season?
England, they're bringing all these youngsters into the team also. So younger player comes through, which always excites me. And I think young captain, new team. I think they've got plenty to look forward, and I'm sure they have got plans, they've got programs lined up, and hopefully they'll do well. They always do well in England, but it's just that overseas sometimes they struggle.
Well, continuing that theme of how sport can have an impact on people's lives, I'm joined today by Tom Perez from Football Beyond Borders and one of its young leaders, Lorenzo Saidi. Gentlemen, welcome to Sports Weekly.
Thank you.
What do you think of that VT, the clip me meeting Brian Lara and Waqar Younis?
Oh, wow, it was impressive, wasn't
Pretty
it?
legendary. I mean, you're talking about two of the biggest cricketing legends of all time, so lucky you.
It was a great day. I've obviously never met them in my life, but it really was. The heart was pumping. So let's start with you, Tom. You're obviously you're not involved with cricket. You're involved with football and Football Beyond Borders. Can you just explain a little bit about what Football Beyond Borders does?
Sure. We are what we like to call a football for education charity. Now, you've probably heard of the niche sport for development. We're part of that kind of wider NGO niche, but we're quite specific in that we use football and we use it for education. And the way we do that is that we put a young person's passion for football at the heart of their learning. We work in, at the moment, 12 schools, I think, 18 school programs across those schools. And basically, the core service that we provide is that we go into these schools and we say, look, let us help with the behaviour, the attendance, and the kind of engagement for learning that some of these young people are struggling with, because maybe the education system and the cuts that have been happening have left a lot of schools with or an inability to provide the right kind of support for all students. I think the education system works for some students, but definitely not for all. And there are a lot of young people, especially at schools that may be tougher schools or in areas where there's a lot of deprivation, where these young people aren't getting the support that they need. And often the case is, as anywhere you'll go in the world, young people have a passion for football. And I'm including young women in that. Unfortunately, after the age of 13, a lot of young women don't get given the opportunities and they get kind of pushed away from football. But actually what we found is that the 300 young people we work with, including about 50 young women, they all love football. And when you put that at the heart of their learning by going into their schools and giving them an after-school program that they're going to enjoy, then you're going to have a lot of success in improving those things.
We'll come on to the women aspects of it a little bit later, but I guess like Brian Lara and like Waqar Younis using their faces for the good, if you like. What we're saying is essentially you're going in there directly on the ground and helping a lot of these young kids in schools with football. Now, the interesting thing for me is the name is Beyond Borders, so I'm guessing that isn't just, say, the UK, because I understand that you went to Palestine and Jordan. Can you tell us a little bit about those tours?
Yeah, our origins are very much international. We started off as a student society at SOAS, which is the School of Oriental and African Studies. I was doing my master's there, and I met a bunch of guys who were playing in the football team and had created this student society called Football Beyond Borders, and I was immediately attracted to it. The year before I joined, they'd gone to Ghana. In the first year of their existence, they'd gone to Syria, Lebanon and Turkey. And this was just a bunch of students. I thought, wow, this is amazing. Every year they fundraise a certain amount of money and they go abroad and they conduct youth workshops, cultural exchanges, and all through the medium of football. Even if you don't speak the language, you go abroad and you've got that connection. And that's where the Beyond Borders side of it came from. But obviously after the tour I went to, which was Egypt during the revolution, Palestine and Jordan, obviously, we thought, there's a lot that we can do in our own country. And it was the same summer as the London riots. And we saw youth clubs being closed. We saw loads of cuts to kind of activities that young people would normally get for free. We saw an increasing price rise in pitches and football pitches available. And we thought, wait, we've got the ability to coach football and we love football and we've had all these amazing opportunities. In fact, we had been the beneficiaries, we'd been the participants of Football Beyond Borders. Now what we wanted to do was give young people back the same opportunities we'd had and give them the chance to have an education that is inspired by their passion, which is football.
Now, Lorenzo, you're sort of part of this. You're as I'd introduced you as one of their new young leaders. Yeah. Can you just tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Football Beyond Borders?
Well, so in 2015, I tore my ACL playing football.
What's the ACL?
So it's a ligament in the knee, and it's the supportive ligament. Okay. And I was just there, hoping football shattered, because obviously I dreamt of becoming a footballer. And I was just there scrolling through Copper 90's YouTube channel. And then I saw future channels and I saw FPB TV. And then I thought, wow, let me email them, let's give it a shot. And Jasper Kane, one of the co-directors of FPB, actually emailed me back saying that he's willing to give me work experience, year 11 work experience. I'm currently in year 12. And I went to FPB, Football Beyond Borders. I went to their office, had a 2 weeks work experience. And it was amazing. Like, I got so much in real life experience. I worked at some of the schools, Archbishop Blackfrank, Chestnut Grove, and it gave me some invaluable experience, and I learned a lot from it as well.
But what really drove you there? I mean, obviously you get work experience here at the school, but was there something did you feel a little bit like maybe you weren't sure what you wanted to do? Did you feel there were too many kids in the class? There was a bit of too much distraction? What was the sort of reason for you going to Football Beyond Borders and seeking their help?
So as I said, I went onto the YouTube channel FPB TV, and ever since I was 13, 12, I've always thought, like, I always wanted to do YouTube. I always loved the media. And I saw this as like a breaking point for me because, young kid, I was around 15 at the time. You'll think that sending emails to, let's say, Arsenal Fan TV or, Copper 90, you'll think that they'll email you back. But sadly, that's not the case. And FPB TV gave me that window to experience inside the world of media, and ever since then I've done 2 shoots, presented 2 shoots at Copper 90, produced a shoot at Copper 90, and I've nearly finished editing the latest show.
And how far are you along with those? Are you almost complete?
Yeah, almost completed. I think it should be out by next week or the next 2 weeks or so.
He's a perfectionist, so it takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about your school programmes in a moment, but we've got a little clip to show you, so if we can just run that.
So we identified, it often happens this way, but we identified a lot of the students in Year 7 who were requiring help, whether it would be with their classwork or behaviour or homework, as also being those in the football team. And we were trying to think of ways to engage them through football. And I knew that Football Beyond Borders, this is what they did. They have a track record of doing this. So we thought, get them in, see what ideas they have about how to engage them to improve other areas of their school life, because they were very engaged in football, but not so much in the other areas. So we thought that they might be the ideal organisation to cross that boundary. The idea is to reward them with a football tour to Scotland. We wanted to take them out of the school context, give them an opportunity to have something that's going to be really fun but also enriching, and a chance for us to get to know them better.
Football Beyond Borders helped me because I saw the way how you're not only helping people with football, but you're actually helping them with other aspects of school life or of life, basically.
Concentrating in class. Sometimes a little bit of bullying.
A couple of lessons like RE, geography, which I'm quite silly in. want to be like in like social work because my dad's a manager in social work stuff.
I want to become a professional footballer when I'm older.
I think the kind of things I would want to do is probably be a lawyer, something not too big, but yeah, actually something big.
So that was it's a lovely clip. Lorenzo, can you identify with, I mean, some of the children obviously were a lot younger, but a couple of things I noticed in that clip, they were talking about a bit of misbehaving, presumably class size also being quite big and finding it difficult to concentrate. Have you had any of that yourself? Have you run into that yourself?
Well, obviously I'm 17 right now in year 12, and for like the past 2 years or so, ever since the Tories were re-elected, I've seen that school sizes have been, class sizes have been getting bigger, and also they say that the quality of teaching has improved. Well, statistically it has, but when you're actually in class, you realise that the need for each individual student is not met. And on an individual basis, I can tell you that whilst my school have been trying their best to cope with these cuts in like, finance, I've felt as if my individual needs they haven't been taken to.
So you feel that maybe, you know, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to be a footballer, but there may have been another area or another type of career or something or subject that you wanted to get involved in at some point, but you felt that there just wasn't that from where you were. There wasn't that sort of tailored sort of teaching. There wasn't that. They weren't able to take you and go, "What are you interested in? Are you interested in that? I will focus on that." They couldn't do that, is what you're saying. Yeah, essentially. And also what I've also found is that as I've moved into sixth form now, I'm doing law, economics and history. I thought I had passions for all these subjects beforehand, and I still do. But I find now that teaching is much more orientated to just getting those results. Whereas what you really should be is aiming for the long term, have that information in your head. Like right now in law, you're basically just learning the essay structure so that you always get A's, but you're not actually learning the content, if you get where I'm coming from. It's worrying. It's very worrying. Yeah, I mean, I can totally understand what you mean. You're saying essentially that, you know, whereas perhaps there should be some more practical elements, you feel that they're ticking boxes essentially to meet targets. Tom, why do you think football specifically is the sort of sport of choice? You know, why not cricket or rugby or hockey? Why football?
Well, I think the short answer to that is that football, for me, is the universal language for a reason. It's a sport that wherever you go in the world, people will be playing some kind of version of football. It doesn't even necessarily need you to have an actual football. You just need a spherical object or something that you can kick into predetermined goals. And that's the beauty. When I was a kid, I grew up in Zimbabwe in Africa. I moved here when I was 14. And I grew up playing football with plastic bags that had just been wrapped together very tightly with string. And you just put, you know, 2 goals at the either end of a dusty pitch, and you play. And that's the beauty. It's the simplicity of it. And it's also, I think, the things that you gain from it, the learnings that you get, which you do get from a lot of other sports, but things such as confidence, teamwork, resilience. These are all things that we teach from football. You know, we use our sporting methodology when we work with young people. You know, we do an hour in the classroom and then we do an hour on the football pitch. And those are the things that we reinforce, because those are life skills that you'll be able to use, you know, everywhere. And the fact that football teaches you those things, but not only that, it creates a common bond between people who may have never met before, but who, when they meet and they can talk about Manchester United or Chelsea or the World Cup, they suddenly have a bond and they have something in common. And that means that it's so much easier to communicate and get along. And that, for me, is why we've used football as the main tool. Is that what attracted you, Lorenzo, to the football side of it? Are you interested in any other sports, or was it specifically, you know, you're a football nutter, you just wanted to get involved in football? Well, ever since year 5, year 4, that's when I really got into football, and I've just loved it ever since then. Yeah, I really am a football fanatic. And supporter of Arsenal, Dulwich Hamlet as well. And yeah, I love it. You know, if it wasn't for football, I wouldn't actually be here right now. So it proves that it can take you a long way, even if you're not an actual footballer. Now, Tom, I know there's a women's programme as well with Football Beyond Borders. How do you approach that? Is it as straightforward as the men's as well, or the boys, if you like? Is there a kind of, is there any difference? Is there any specific, activities or projects that would be noticeably different from, say, the men's? Yeah, well, when we started Football Beyond Borders, the main thing that schools told us was that their biggest problem was young men. You know, young men who were disengaged with the program, with the school program, who were behaving badly at school. And so that's where we initially put our very limited resources. That's what schools eventually started paying us for. That's where we would get funding, because there's a real problem with young men, you know, statistically achieving at school. They usually achieve less than young women. However, when we started doing this in schools, we didn't expect this at all. The young women at the school started saying, well, why can't we do Football Beyond Borders? Right. And so we thought, well, you can. There's no reason why not to. We're very committed to diversity. From day one, we've always been thinking that football is for all. It's one of our slogans, football for all, and we always have an annual showcase showing that. So we thought, look, the girls want to get involved. That's great. If we can get the school's approval, we'll set up a pilot program. So we did it in the first school that we ever worked in, which is in Croydon. We set up a pilot program with 13 girls. It's now been going for over a year. We've now been able to transfer those learnings to another school, so we now have 2 school programs. And what we did with the help of our head of female participation, a wonderful coach called Karina, she actually had an idea already for a tailored program, which we kind of combined with our schools program already, but tailored it towards what she feels and what we feel and we agree are the main issues that young women deal with, which is kind of going through that transition into puberty, worrying about self-esteem, confidence, how they're perceived, motivation, and physical fitness. So the program is called FEM. It stands for Female Fitness Education and Motivation, and it's been very successful so far. And we also run community programs for kind of women between any women. Literally any women who want to play, and that's from 7 to 8 in Stockwell on Wednesdays, and women can come down and play football, beginners, any level, and just feel like they can be part of the universal language of football.
Because, I mean, you just mentioned there a specific time between 7 and 8. I was going to ask you, Lorenzo, sort of how have you managed to fit all this now around you're doing history and economics and law. How are you fitting this around your kind of subjects, or which are you treating perhaps more importantly?
Well, you know, I've got a schedule, very tight schedule, as Pez knows. And obviously I have to do a lot of stretching as well for my ACL, otherwise it will just go bust again. How do I actually fit all this in? Well, I have around 4 to 5 half-an-hour sessions for each subject each day. Not each subject, as 3 subjects as a whole each day. So let's say, today when I get back home, I've already done 3 half-an-hour sessions of law. When I get back, I'm going to do 2 half-an-hour sessions of econ. And then I find that towards, like, let's say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I will do a bit of video editing. And it really depends week per week. Sometimes I decide to prioritize my video editing over my schoolwork, but usually it's schoolwork over video editing.
So it's pretty full on then, and I guess you have a range of participants who will purely just focus on the football, and others like Lorenzo who will also have quite an academic side to them to their daily life as well.
The main thing that we are is it's important to remember. The main thing that we are is an education charity. Football is the hook. But what we want is to support young people in their education. Now, education, we feel, should not be strictly defined to just what you learn in school. It's about learning and it's about improving your skills. And so that's why we run the YouTube channel that Lorenzo was mentioning, FBB TV, because that has allowed us to teach young people how to film, edit, produce. All of these are useful skills that you can go out and get employed for and get paid significant amounts of money if you do them well. But we also think that it's things like oracy, being able to present in front of a camera, which is now something that I've had a lot of experience at, but I've never been trained in it. And it's just because I've had the opportunities given by people like yourselves at Islam Channel and other channels that have allowed me to come on and learn how to speak in front of cameras. That's a really useful skill. And these young people are learning it all the time. But what we always say to them is, your school's got to come first. Education's got to come first. You've got to get the best marks you can in your A-levels and then hopefully go to university. And that will give you the best possible grounding. After that, you can do what you want.
A few minutes left, Lorenzo. I want to ask you, I know that you were nominated for an award recently. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So it was the event was called the London Youth Awards, and I was nominated for the Young Leader Award. And sadly, I came short. I think a boy named Sam beat me, and all respect to him, he deserved it. I checked the video that he was on, and he done his best, and he actually really deserved it. For me, I got nominated due to the fact that I've produced the show and I've done a lot of planning for it. Throughout the year, I've managed to mix my GCSEs, so that was last year, with FBB. I got 9 Bs, 2 As and an A star. And I guess I have shown some leadership qualities. I don't like to boast, but I'm personally proud of where I am right now, but the sky's the limit, you know?
Well, it's better than my GCSE and A-level results, I'll tell you that. OK, so just briefly, Tom, where next? What projects are FBB, Football Beyond Borders, going to be getting involved in? And also, you know, if someone wanted to get involved in the programme, how would they do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to borrow Lorenzo's phrase there, sky's the limit. It's literally been an incredible 2017 for us already. Lots and lots of opportunities bubbling. We're looking to expand nationally over the next 3 years. I'm not saying right now, but we think we've got a programme that could be scaled out across the country. We're also looking to run some really exciting events to engage grassroots football fans, because what we realise is there's loads of cuts to education, and that's going to be a real struggle. Schools are not going to be able to afford to pay us to deliver the services.
Well, I was going to ask, I mean, how is that going to, how are you going to continue that?
Well, we're very innovative and we're not afraid, and we kind of think that as we're a young organisation, most of our staff are even below the age of 30. We're all very connected to what the education system is, and we remember how it affected us. And we also have a lot of teachers among us, and people who are education experts who have been supporting us. We've got a fantastic board of trustees, people from Google, Barclays, you know, people who really believe in what we're doing. So we're confident that no matter what, we will be able to find support, whether it's from corporations, different corporations that we trust in and believe are good, most importantly, but also supporters. Think how much money there is flowing around in football. Now, a lot of that money, instead of trickling down, is actually trickling up. It's people paying season tickets to Premier League clubs, and the money's disappearing upwards. Now, if those fans could even support us with £5 or £10 a month, that goes a long way to helping us achieve our goals, and it means that we don't have to depend on government funding. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give fans the chance to find out about our events and the work we do by coming
how would they do that?
On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, we're everywhere. If you type in Football Beyond Borders on any social media platform, you'll find us, and our website is footballbeyondborders.org.
Right.
And lots of opportunities for volunteering and for getting involved with our events, so we'd love people to come down. OK, well, Tom, look, thank you very much for coming in today, and you too, Lorenzo, and I hope your studies work out well, and I know that you're an Arsenal supporter. I'm a Villa supporter, so I know how you're suffering at the moment. Anyway, thanks for coming on to the show. Thank you. Thank you. OK, so that's just about it for this episode of Sports Weekly. Next week, we'll be speaking to the Golf Foundation about their work to get more women involved in the sport, along with, of course, other golf-related chats. So do join us for that. You can also catch up with the episodes by heading online to islamchannel.tv, and, of course, you can find us on Facebook or by Twitter at SportsWeeklyIC. Until next week, though, from everyone here in the studio, bye-bye.